Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new League of Legends video. So in this video we will be talking about Yasuo. Now Yasuo is known to be one of, I guess, the more disliked champions in League of Legends, but at the same time is loved by many as well. And for the most part, Yasuo has always been in a very interesting spot when it comes to ranked play. I mean, he's never really been considered to be just flat out overpowered. Yeah, if you play him well enough and you're very skilled with him, you can do a lot of amazing things, but for the majority of players or just the overall average win rate of this champion, it never really has been all that impressive. You know, maybe 50%, 51, maybe even 52 if he's on a really good day. But very recently, something I guess different or very interesting has happened with Yasuo, which is what we'll be talking about throughout this video. So like I said, for the most part, even Yasuo reaching anywhere near 52% win rate overall is already impressive for the champion, because he does honestly have a very high skill ceiling. But it definitely seems like the samurai has been seeing some of his best days yet. Because now, as of patch 6.17, it seems like his win ratio has absolutely skyrocketed, specifically in the top lane. As you can see, for NA and EUS on OPGG, sitting at around 56%, almost even at 57% for NA. Now, when any champion in League of Legends ever passes maybe around 55 or so percent, that already is somewhat of a concern. But when that champion is someone like Yasuo, then you know you fucked up. Because like I just said, this is for top lane Yasuo, and what has top lane Yasuo become? This annoying tanky bruiser-ish type samurai. And taking a look at the bestbans.com website, you can also see that he's #1 banned in every single elo range, and more specifically when looking at the diamond, his win ratio once again in NA is very high. So this definitely sort of begs the question, why exactly has his win ratio jumped so significantly? I mean, it's not normal for a champion like Yasuo, it's not normal for any champion for that matter to even be above 55%, because it clearly means that they're much stronger than they should be, and Riot in one way or another has fucked up. So I did make a video maybe about 2 weeks or so ago talking about how there are Yasuo nerfs incoming and just overall why they're coming in general. But it seems like this is getting more and more out of control, because I mean his win rate has just simply jumped way too much. So what happened? Let's talk more about this. So as of patch 6.17, there has been a bug fix for Yasuo, but it's one to the point where you can even consider it a buff, just because of simply how long it took for Riot to finally fix it, and it was a very big bug. So you can now see it on your screens, fixed a bug where Yasuo's first basic attack after his ultimate was delayed if it was a critical strike. Now for the most part, Yasuo usually gets maybe at least 60% critical strike, if not 100%, and having this bug appear when you're trying to finish off your opponent is probably the most annoying thing ever. So this being fixed was a huge buff for Yasuo. On top of also a couple of patches ago where there were several bug fixes, but the main one being at the top, fixed a bug where Yasuo could be locked out of his basic attack after casting either his E or his ult. Now while all of these factors, especially the bug fix happening this patch, definitely affects his win rates, the biggest issue and what's really impacting it in my opinion is the way people are now building him, including the masteries and the runes. So as of right now, whenever you're playing top lane Yasuo, and honestly even mid lane Yasuo, I mean you go teleport, sometimes you can even go exhaust, but your items consist of a very tanky bruiser-ish type build that can consist of things such as Phantom Dancer, Infinity Edge, Frozen Mallet, Trinity Force, Sterak's Gauge, Bloodthirster, and things like that. So an example could be going Phantom Dancer into Frozen Mallet into Infinity Edge. Or maybe a little bit more offensive with Phantom Dancer IE and then Bloodthirster, or maybe something like a Trinity Force Frozen Mallet into maybe Sunfire or Guardian's Angel, or you can even go things like PD, Frozen Mallet, Trinity Force. I mean, it's just any combination of these items. It just depends on how much damage you want to output and or how tanky you want to be. But the idea here is the fact that you deal a very good amount of damage still. You can either go 100% crit or just 60 with one Phantom Dancer, and you're gonna be very tanky, very hard to kill, and just very annoying. But to make things even better, whenever you choose your masteries, your keystone should without question be Fervor of Battle, because this gives you a ridiculous amount of extra AD. So even if you do end up going the more tankier build, maybe PD, Frozen Mallet, and maybe Trinity Force or something like that, you will still have a very high amount of damage being outputted, all thanks to your Fervor of Battle. And your runes are going to be something along the lines of having attack speed in your reds and your quints, while your yellows and your blues are something defensive like HP, MR, armor, or whatever. So now that you know the gist of what exactly makes Yasuo so strong right now, I mean, let's talk more about why. So when you think of Yasuo, you instantly think of a samurai who's very vulnerable and can die fairly easily, but also deals a ridiculous amount of damage. And for the most part, when it comes to truly outplaying your opponent and making a very flashy play, it just comes down to player skill and how well you can abuse the overall mechanics of the champion. This is why Yasuo, believe it or not, does have one of the highest skill caps in League of Legends of any single champion. Because yes, indeed, he can definitely do a lot of very interesting and fantastic plays to the point where he looks flat out overpowered, but it's not easy to do, and if you mess up, you're gonna die fairly easily. But this new Yasuo build in the top lane, where you build him very Bruiser-like, very tanky, I mean, it's very, very forgiving. You still do a lot of damage, and if you mess up, it's perfectly fine. I mean, chances are you're not gonna die, and you can just get right back up and try again, and this is the biggest issue. Because what happened with this build, and similar to many other assassins that took also the same path, like Echo, it just overall dumbs down the champion's skill level and how good you have to be to play the champion as well. Again, because you could just make so many mistakes that it's perfectly a-okay. So that's, in my opinion, the reason as to why Yasuo's win rate has absolutely skyrocketed, especially in the top lane, mainly because of the build that he now is very popular with. But definitely expect some nerfs coming in by Riot, hopefully somewhat soon, to the point where, I mean, he'll be back to being played as someone who should be a very glass cannon samurai who relies on just simply mechanics to outplay the opponents and be the stylish champion that we know and love. But either way, guys, that is about it for this video. I mean, I just really wanted to talk about this because it's very interesting. I mean, having Yasuo at over even 55% and almost hitting 57% win rate, that is absolutely ridiculous. This is not a champion that should be at such a high win rate because of just how difficult he is at the highest level of play. But either way, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments, what do you think about this win rate for Yasuo and just how he is currently in the meta. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you haven't, share this video as well with your friends, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.